The wooden chest was filled with gold, but the salvagers didn't know it at that time. They brought the chest to the surface, but an accident happened while they were dragging it. It wasn't until the chest broke that they realized it was filled with gold bars. The father opened the wooden chest and saw that every single one was filled with gold, but they couldn't feel happy at all. The family used to make a living by fishing for seafood. The women would throw floats into the water, then dive down to the bottom to pick up abalones and other shellfish. The men would use hooks to lift the seafood onto the boat, and then they would take it to the dock to sell. But one day, they found that all the seafood had turned color and smelled bad. It was because a chemical plant had been dumping polluted water, which had contaminated the nearby waters. Their fishing business had to stop. Just as the father was worrying about this, a man came to their door and suggested they work together on a smuggling business. All the father's family had to do was sail the boat to a certain place and then dive down to pick up the goods. The father didn't want to do anything illegal, but in the end, he agreed. At night, a cargo ship would throw a lot of goods into the water. In the early morning, the father would sail his boat to the right place, and his daughters would dive down to get the goods and lift them onto the boat. They didn't do this for long before they made a lot of money. It was much faster than fishing for seafood, but it also caught the attention of the police, who investigated them several times. Although they managed to avoid the searches again and again, the father felt very uneasy. When the man came again, the father suggested they stop working together. The man had no choice but to talk to the father's two daughters. Since they had become wealthy, the daughters had experienced a life they had never had before, so the older sister agreed without telling anyone else. The father was very angry and said this would be the last time, but they didn't know that this time they were smuggling gold. Just as they were at a loss, they heard sirens in the distance. The Coast Guard was coming toward them at high speed. The father quickly went to start the engine, and everyone started throwing the wooden chests into the water to destroy the evidence. But just as they were about to run away, the boat's anchor got stuck between two rocks. The youngest son went to the back of the boat, and everyone started pulling together. But the rope they were using was made of hemp and couldn't handle the strong pulling force. The youngest son fell into the water. Without thinking, the father jumped in after him. In a moment, both of them were torn apart and turned into a pool of blood. By this time, the Coast Guard had arrived. Everyone was caught red-handed, but the clever older sister hid at the back of the boat when the police weren't looking and then slipped into the water and got away. 2 years later, the older sister came back to the village with a heart full of hatred. She had already found out who had betrayed them, and she came back for revenge.